Hello everyone and welcome to another installment of the Figuring Out Fatherhood Chris Unplugged podcast. I'm your host Chris Topper, and new episodes of this podcast come out every Tuesday at 8 p.m. British Standard Time. What I do is I squeeze important life, parenthood and personal development topics that I've picked up in my journey into short bite-sized episodes which will help you become a better version of yourself and will help you also becoming a better parent. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on social media. Okay, so if you didn't know by now, co-parenting is not easy at all. After breaking up, you have to navigate the actual breakup itself, being a single parent, your new financial commitments, your new responsibilities. There are a lot of things you have to navigate, which adds to the complexity of co-parenting. Some people are just unable to co-parent in any capacity. It doesn't matter whose fault it is or why you can't co-parent together successfully, but the outcome is you're unable to co-parent. And it happens. It's important that you realize that you're not the first for this to happen to you, and you probably won't be the last. I know everyone makes it seem like co-parenting is the ideal outcome and it's the norm that everyone goes through, but not everyone is able to navigate their relationship or their feelings for their ex in order to co-parent successfully. But if you haven't already, I would really encourage you to watch a previous episode called Parallel Parenting. Over there I discuss an alternative method of parenting to co-parenting called parallel parenting. Some of us have very, very functional co-parenting relationships, and this is not bad at all. This is actually pretty good, to be honest, because I've been able to navigate the breakup and any bad feelings you have towards your ex. You've been able to work through that in order to work together for the benefit of your child. So you're very civil. You're civil, you respect each other's boundaries, and you play your part, but that's as far as it goes. Any communication outside of your child could lead to a blow up. Anything like, it's very tense, shall I say. So it's functional, it works, it does what it needs to do in terms of you know what you need to do and you just do it and you just both get on with your lives, but it's very functional. And to be honest, for some people that's the ideal. Not for me personally. Like I would like to have a beyond just civil relationship with the mother of my child, which I do have a beyond just civil relationship with the mother of my child. But don't get me wrong, a very, very functional co-parenting relationship is good, it's really good. But what that means is little things like you're unable to ask your fellow co-parent how they're doing. You're able to ask how their day went, how their week has gone, how their month has gone. And I don't know about you, but as far as I'm concerned, if someone's raising my child, I would like to also know that they're okay. I would like to know that they have things covered. I would like to know that they're financially okay, everything's fine, their rent's covered. Like, I would like to know that they're good. But that's just me personally. You're raising my child spends a lot of time with you. I would like to know the circumstances around them raising my child are fine. I want to know that you're good. And if you're good, I know 100% that my child is going to be good too. So as good as a fully functional co-parenting relationship is good, for me, it's not enough. And then you have some of us who thrive in our co-parenting relationships. And when I say thrive, I mean things are good. Don't get me wrong. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement in a co-parenting relationship. But some people actually thrive. It means that things are good between you two. You can depend on each other. You can rely on each other to have each other's backs. You're both thriving in your role and your child is happy. And that brings me to my topic today. Today I want to talk about 6 signs that you have a healthy, effective co-parenting relationship. The first sign, very clear and very concise boundaries. Not just the boundaries, but boundaries that have been set and boundaries that are being followed. Feelings are kept out of conversations. Any personal feelings that you have, your personal relationship amongst yourselves, it has no bearing on your parenting relationship. You've both identified and established what's within your control and what's out of your control. You've both established and identified what's your business and what's not your business. For example, who your ex chooses to date is not your business and you have no say over that. However, you do have say over what schools your child will go to, what extracurricular activities they take part in. Clear and concise boundaries that have been established and are being followed. The next sign, flexibility. Now, clear and established schedules are great. It helps you plan your month, your days, your weeks. For some of us, even our quarters and our years, having an established schedule just makes life so much easier. You know when you can go on holiday with your mates, you know when you can't, when you have a weekend to yourself, you know when you don't. They're fantastic. But not all things always go to plan, and sometimes plans need to be changed. Now, being willing to be flexible for the sake of your other co-parent, and when I say flexible, it means, do you mind having our child for an extra day or two? Do you mind having them this week or that week? Are you willing to accommodate for that? Are you willing to help out your fellow co-parent in a week or a time where they need your help? Are you willing to be flexible to accommodate for that? If you are, that's a very, very good sign that you have a good, healthy co-parenting relationship. Third sign, you can rely on each other. It's one thing being flexible or feeling like you're flexible or being willing to be flexible. It's another thing actually relying on your fellow parents as well. Now, the way I look at it is, if the other parent can't make plans or they can't be with the child for a certain amount of time, I cannot stress this enough. Personally, I feel like before the parent asks for care, before they reach out for a babysitter or ask a cousin, sister, grandma or someone to come and stay with them and look after the child while they're out or whatever, I honestly think that the first point of call should be your fellow parent. If your fellow parent does that, they're willing to call you and ask if you're willing to help them out, and they know that you do it willingly as opposed to you're doing it because you're forced or you feel like it's your parental right or whatever. That's a good sign. It's a good sign if they're willing to trust you to help them out in their time of need. When you think of a toxic situation you've just come from, one of the last things you want to do is ask that same person to help you out. So if they know they can rely on you, it means you either have or you're working towards a healthy co-parenting relationship. Next up, communication. A good indicator of the health of your co-parenting relationship is how you communicate with each other. How do you communicate with your fellow co-parent? How do you communicate changes to your fellow co-parents? Are they announced? Do you say, hey, I have decided to take my child away over the Christmas holiday? Or do you ask? Do you say, I'm thinking of taking our child away over Christmas. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Where do we go from here? Little things like that. How do you communicate with each other? Do you discuss things before decisions are made? Or do you just announce them? Do you just say, I'm taking our child here with no sort of regard for what they think? If it's within your own parenting time, it doesn't make much of a difference because it's your time. But if it's going to eat into their time, or it's a different country entirely, or it's a big enough decision, it's good to get your fellow co-parent's opinion on that. Does your mood switch when you speak to the other parent? Does your mood drop when you see their phone flash on the screen? Or do you not mind? Or do you just wonder like, oh, what's up? I wonder why he or she's calling. How do you feel when your fellow co-parent's name comes up on your phone? That's a good indicator of the health of your co-parenting relationship. Next sign, what are you like in each other's presence? Is it tense? Is it awkward? Is an argument on the tip of your tongues? Are you always on edge? Or are you comfortable? Are you calm? Are things calm? Is it relaxed? Does it feel like a safe space? A good sign of a healthy co-parenting relationship means you can occupy the same spaces without feeling like you're on edge, or feeling like you're doing something wrong, or feeling like an argument between you and your ex is going to break out. If you're able to occupy the same spaces in a friendly, safe manner, that's a good sign. And it's a good sign that you have a healthy co-parenting relationship or you're on your way there. The same spaces could be things like parents' evening, sports events, christenings, birthdays, name anything where you and your fellow parent will be in the same space. Final sign, you both agree and recognize the fact that the child will always come first. Any ill feelings you have toward each other, you always put it to the side for the benefit of your child. You both recognize that you're both putting the other child first when you say you'll do things. That's a good sign. It's a good sign of a healthy co-parenting relationship, because there are a few things that are worse when you're trying to navigate co-parenting. When one parent makes a decision and you feel like they're doing it personally, they're doing it out of spite, or they're trying to get at you, or there's an attack on you. You both recognize and agree that you're making decisions for the benefit of your child. Some bonus information before I wrap this episode is a co-parenting relationship should often feel like business as usual, in terms of you both know your responsibilities, you both know what time you're picking up your child, and you both know that there's nothing to be worried about. You're both clear, you're both aware that if something was to go wrong, for example, you're running late or you can't make it, it'll be communicated in enough time. If plans are changing, it'll be communicated in enough time. You show up on time, you drop them off on time, you do everything on time. That way you build a rapport and you know that if you are late, your co-parents know that it's not up to spite. And that way it's also good because you're not getting forever questioned and you're both just showing up and doing what you're meant to do as a parent, as a good parent. A healthy co-parenting relationship should feel like business as usual. You're not worried about what's happening behind the scenes. And there's a lot of transparency as well. In addition to that, and most importantly, your child can see and feel that you get on. Your child will be aware that you're not together, but they'll also be aware of the fact that these are two people who are working together to raise a child. Before I wrap up, I think it's important that we note that this list isn't exhaustive, it's just 6 signs. And don't feel like if you're lacking in any of these areas that something's wrong with your co-parenting relationship. It could just be a situation where you have things to work on, things you can improve. So if you have any other signs of a healthy co-parenting relationship, let me know in the comments. I do appreciate that stuff. And if you've enjoyed this episode, you've learned something new, make sure you share it with your friends, share on social media, share with anyone you feel will benefit from this information. And I'm going to leave you how I always leave you guys, and that's to make it your mission today to make a decision that future will be grateful for. Future you'll be grateful working towards a healthy and effective co-parenting relationship with your child's other parent. So until next time, guys.